been a while. Yeah, definitely been a while for this bike. The 60s Mercier, I think sort of early 60s, 63 maybe. The Mercier Mixte. It's been in the garage now for, I don't know, couple of years, and it's just been put on the back burner. There is no sort of good reason for that. It was just because the parts are quite difficult to come by, and well, keeping it original, the parts difficult to come by. The mudguards are very much trashed. The lights were missing off them, both front and rear, and Subits lights, the exact ones, are hard to come by. Derailleur was obviously had a broken chain, that's going to be difficult to repair. And the rims, the 650Bs I think they were, they're not exactly impossible to come by. Velo Orange do them, but they're expensive and possibly not. It's going to be, people are going to disagree with me, but it's possibly not going to be, the most cost-effective method for this bike. So I'm going to try and assemble as much as I can today with what I've got, and maybe go through a couple of plans of what I could do with it. The paint is beautiful on it still, but I do want to try and keep it original, so these little sections where someone's overpainted because the mudguards were painted grey, where someone's just slapped on the paint and it's got on the frame, I want to get rid of that. So hopefully some wire wool will do that, and then we can linseed oil the whole frame. So there's a lot of that to do, and then I'll oil the whole frame. So we got new grease, new bearings, but I'm not sure how well this fork is going to work, seeing as there is a bulge in it from over tightening the steerer. It seems to spin okay just like that, and B, threads don't look too good. They are kind of worn down on the back, but I have cleaned them up. So let's see how well it threads on. So there is a bit of binding in there actually. That's loose at the moment. I can rock the headset, and if I turn it there, actually let's zoom out a little bit. So yeah, there's something to watch out for. Here, I've still got a tiny bit of rock backwards and forwards in the headset. So it should spin freely, which it feels there, spins freely there. You get to there, and it binds up. And if I do that headset up a little bit more, this side spins fine, gets to there, and it binds. I think this is going to be very hard to show, but there's a bulge there. I mean, you can clearly see the ridge on it. Yeah, just gone round and filed that down. The camera died when I was recording that, but this is a finished result. Flattened it out a heck of a lot. Obviously this section is going to be slightly weaker than the rest of it now, but hopefully it should spin freely now, and as long as you don't over tighten the stem again, hopefully it'll be good. It's a lot smoother. It took me, I don't know, 5 minutes just going backwards and forwards just on that spot. Obviously it started off as a thin ridge, and then the more you expand it, the flatter it's going to be. But it feels smooth now, so I'm going to stick that back in. Didn't fix it. Still spins nice and smooth when facing the drive side, but as soon as you flip it round, it gets bound up there and really bound up around there until it releases again. I actually think I see the problem. Have a look at that angle there of the fork. You see how the head tube and the fork blades aren't on the same plane? Well, I think that might be the issue. The fork itself is bent, as well as the bulge in the head tube. So, but on a slightly more positive note, I guess, I managed to get the bottom bracket out, which was a pain, and the cups don't look too bad, and the wear, non-drive side looks pretty decent. Drive side, there is a bit of tarnishing in there, but doesn't look like there's much pitting at all. And even on the axle itself, it looks pretty good, so we'll get that in. Now this bike takes 11 1/4" bearings and is French threaded, so it might come undone easily, and that is really bad. This actually feels like an aluminium cup, but instead of reverse threading on the drive side, it's normal threading. Gotta try and get this up nice and tight. That's why I haven't put any grease on it as well, before you tell me. I need to get this up as tight as I can. Stop it coming undone. Okay. I will put grease on the non-drive side though. Oh wait, I need to put the seat post in first. Okay, so now it's actually hung up by the seat post. Get to the whole frame, and the frame's cleaned down and the headset's in and all that jazz. I'm just gonna rub the whole frame with this boiled linseed oil, which should protect it, keep the patina just a light coat. I mean, hopefully you can already see the difference that's made. It might not be possible in this light, but I can see it. This will harden to a slightly tough finish. If you put it on thick, it's going to get tacky, and it is kind of flammable. So dispose of the rags properly after you use them. Pivot stem. By French stem, so 22mm. So despite the negatives so far, this bike does have an awesome crankset. I'm still not sure what brand it is. Let's let that flop for a second. It looks very similar to a simplex sort of design, but it does have a lock ring on the back, so you can chop and change them. The teeth are in good condition. These are continental pins, so they're 9mm rather than 9.5 actually. That ring wobbles a little bit. What does it? I know it's just on the arm at the moment because it's not fixed down. And I did shave these cutter pins down ever so slightly so they fit in a little bit deeper. Oh yeah, that's better. But while we're on the subject, nice. While we're on the subject of cranks, pedals, obviously French threaded. I don't have a pair. They came with mismatching pedals, so I don't really want to put them back on. So that's one thing I'm missing to add to the list. Fork needs to be replaced. Pedals are needed. That's beautiful, that. Now the saddle's not too bad. It does have some paint dripped on it. It's missing a rivet there actually, just noticed. And the rails have been painted again. But it's not a bad little saddle, made by White Star. Yeah, White Star. I'm just going to try and put some leather balm on it and use a... It smells good. I'm just going to use a light, very light grade of wire wool, just to rub it on. Just want to see if I can actually remove that paint. Yeah, I can remove it. I'm going to be distressing the leather at the same time. Let's see, let's just rub that little bit off. Use that. Well, it's definitely soaked into the saddle. Untreated versus treated. So yeah, I'm going to try and work this a bit more. Try and save it. And quite honestly, that is that is about as much as I can take the bike to at the moment. Because this is where I was going to say where the problems start, but the problems have already started. I'm pretty sure that fork is bent. That will be very difficult to replace. And even the saddle, I mean, it's missing that one rivet and it's slightly deformed, but yeah, the rest of the problems start now, and I'll talk you through them. Brake levers. Bear in mind these aren't cleaned up, these are literally just as I pulled off the bike. They're bent. Both of them are pretty mangled, this one especially. Yeah, I don't know, and they're pretty worn on the chrome as well, so I could straighten them out. They're still not going to look, they're not going to look pretty, but I could straighten them out. Now the rear brake isn't too much of an issue. I've very roughly stripped it back to a sort of rusty bare metal, because again this was painted, but that hooks on over the top. This potentially could be an issue, like the brake functions as it is. I'll strip it down again if I was to use it like this, but because the rims are shot, like the braking surfaces on the rims are shot, I was thinking of using some English, some British rims, some 26 by 1 3/8, because I have them built up, stick a 3-speed on there, and use that wheel set. That would solve that problem. However, these brakes would no longer fit because these are quite long reach brakes. In fact, I know I don't have that wheel built up yet. So I would have to find another brake, potentially a Mafac, something like that. Maybe I could actually use that mounting bracket with some other brakes. I'd have to find a workaround, so using that with some shorter reach arms, or getting some Mafacs on there with shorter reach with this specific bracket. The front, when I got the bike, was completely hanging off, and that's because of this. This is the original pivot bolt. How are you meant to fit the arms on that? It snapped off. So that was an issue. I will obviously run into an issue if I use 26 by 1 3/8, because they won't have the right reach. I have found a workaround. I need to actually get a longer arm or modify this, but with an axle or a bolt, should I say, off some, you know, normal English brakes, it works. It can go on. There is a bit more work to do on this. I just have to trim this washer down a little bit so I can get the full length of the bolt through. That might work, or I'll just replace that with a different bolt, but it does work, sort of, like that. An easy but costly one to solve. No shifter. Didn't come with a shifter, so it does need a cyclo shifter. I thought I had one, but I must have used it on another build because I can't find it in here. Originally, this bike came with this. It's a cyclo 3-speed shifter mounted on there, and then you keep the tension with this spring, which is hooked on from the other end. There we go. So then that sits in there. That keeps the tension, which would be awesome. It would be absolutely awesome to keep this. I do probably have to refurbish this shifter. Well, I definitely do, because the chain is broke. I've never repaired one of them before. I understand you can repair them, but that is something. And then that wouldn't obviously match up with the 3-speed. Is this cyclo? 3-speed cyclo freewheel, which actually sounds pretty good. It has got paint all over it, and the hubs, which are Sprinter. There you go. So it would be a nice 3-speed build. These hubs took ages to clean up, by the way. These were all painted as well. I had to spend ages, strip the wheels down, and clean these up. These are 36 hole as well, which is why I could use it still with the English rim, 40 hole, and I'd have to miss out 4 spoke holes. It's not impossible to do. Yeah, but it would probably look better on the original 650s. However, spending the amount on a set of Velo orange rims is quite a lot, and then new spokes, it's going to end up being quite costly. I do have the tyres already though, that is an upstart. Okay, so next issue, mudguards. Rear one, I mean, I've cleaned them up. These were all painted as well. They have been wire brushed, or sorry, steel walled, clean. The green accent in the middle has gone, but they are a lot cleaner. This one is split on the end, it's missing the light. Where the rack mounts, it's been, I don't know, drilled out for extra mounts at some point. They're horrible. And then the main mounting point is absolutely shot. Like, look at that. Someone has cut that open at some point and ruined it. So there you have it. That's why you haven't seen the Mercier. It's just a money pit, and I'm not entirely sure what direction I'm going to go with it, or if I'm even going to continue with it. So that's where we're at. Back to the normal builds now, I guess, and I'll catch you in the next video. See you there.